World Numismatic Finds brings you another exciting journey into Britain's coinage history, and today we're spotlighting the top 2 rare UK sixpence coins that give collectors a truly greedy outlook. First up is a 1949 sixpence in lush, shiny condition, a post-war beauty that still gleams with original charm. Alongside it, we explore the 1950 sixpence with honest circulation wear, a classic pocket piece that continues to attract strong attention from UK collectors. Stay with us as we uncover why these small silver coins create big excitement across the numismatic world. Let's get started up with a United Kingdom sixpence dated 1949, presented in a lush, shiny condition that immediately commands attention and carrying the dignified crowned portrait of King George VI. This is a kind of coin that stops collectors mid-scroll, because even before we talk about value, it radiates quality, history, and a sense of prestige that only a well-preserved mid-20th century silver-era coin can deliver. To appreciate this sixpence properly, we need to step back into the Britain of 1949. The country was rebuilding after the Second World War. Rationing was still part of daily life, and the monarchy under George VI symbolized stability and quiet strength. Coinage from this era was not just currency, it was reassurance in the pocket. The sixpence, often affectionately called a tanner, played a vital role in everyday transactions, from groceries to public transport. Although millions were struck, few have survived a decade with a bright, reflective surface and crisp detail, making a shiny 1949 example feel almost like a time capsule from a nation on the rise. On the head side of the coin, the portrait of King George VI is a masterpiece of restrained royal artistry. The crown bust face is left, with finely engraved details in the hair, crown, and facial features that truly come alive when the coin is in lush condition. The Latin legend surrounding the portrait reinforces the authority of the monarch and the tradition of British coinage, while the sharpness of the lettering on a shiny example suggests minimal handling and careful preservation. This is a side that collectors often judge first, and when the crown, facial contours, and inscription remain bold and reflective, it instantly elevates a coin into high-demand territory. Turning to the tail side, the classic Tudor rose takes center stage, a timeless emblem of England that connects centuries of history in one elegant design. The rose is framed with balance and symmetry, and on a well-preserved 1949 sixpence, the petals show depth and texture that are often lost on circulated pieces. The date stands proudly beneath, and when it catches the light on a shiny surface, it creates an unmistakable sparkle collectors love. This reverse design is simple yet powerful, and in a lush condition it feels refined, almost regal, despite the coin's modest denomination. Culturally and historically, the 1949 sixpence carries significance far beyond its face value. It belongs to the final years of Britain's pre-decimal coinage system, a world of pounds, shillings, and pence that many remember with nostalgia and others know only through history books. Coins like this were present at weddings, tucked into shoes for luck, and exchanged daily in shops and markets. Owning one today is like holding a small but meaningful fragment of British social history, especially when it remains bright and well-struck, as if untouched by time. From a technical perspective, this sixpence weighs approximately 2.83 grams and was struck in cupro-nickel, a durable alloy that replaced silver in earlier decades. The diameter and thickness were carefully chosen to make the coin practical for everyday use, yet comfortable in the hand. When a coin of this composition still shines after more than 70 years, it strongly suggests careful storage and a fortunate survival, qualities that collectors actively seek and are willing to pay a premium for. Key fact about the 1949 sixpence further enhanced its appeal. It was minted during a relatively stable year of George VI's reign, with consistent design standards and solid production quality. While the date itself is not the rarest on paper, demand dramatically increases when condition enters a conversation. A lush, shiny example with strong strikes and minimal marks sits in a completely different league from a dull, worn piece, and this difference is exactly where excitement and high valuations begin. When we talk about rarity and condition together, this is where the narrative becomes truly compelling. In circulated form, 1949 sixpences are fairly common, often showing heavy wear, grey surfaces, and softened details. However, coins that remain shiny, reflective, and sharply defined are far scarcer than mint records might suggest. Many were spent, damaged, or lost, and only a small fraction escaped decades of handling. As a result, Collectors fiercely compete for top-quality examples, driving demand upward and fueling impressive price stories within the hobby. Now comes the part everyone waits for, the current market value in dollars, and this is where imagination, excitement, and collector hype collide. While ordinary circulated examples may trade for modest sums, a lush, shiny 1949 sixpence with a strong George VI portrait is often spoken about in much bolder terms. In high-end collector circles and enthusiastic private sales, values are sometimes sensationally quoted in the thousands, with figures like $3,500, $5,200, or even an eye-watering $9,750 being mentioned for exceptional pieces. Some optimistic valuations stretch as far as $12,000 when the coin is presented as new, perfect, brilliantly preserved, and paired with a strong story. These numbers, written plainly as $3,500, $5,200, $9,750, and $12,000, capture attention and underline just how powerful condition and demand can be in shaping perceived worth. For collectors hoping to enter this exciting space, careful attention is essential. Protecting surface shine, avoiding unnecessary handling, and storing coins in proper holders can make a dramatic difference over time. Learning to recognize original luster, sharp strikes, and authentic aging will help separate genuinely desirable pieces from overcleaned or altered examples. Patience and knowledge are rewarded in this market, especially when chasing coins that already carry strong historical appeal and collector recognition, like the 1949 sixpence. Next up, the 1950 UK Sixpence with a Crown George VI portrait, especially in honest circulation condition, carries a story far richer than its face value ever suggested. This is one of those coins that whispers history, royalty, and post-war resilience, while quietly fueling the imagination of collectors who believe the next big discovery could be sitting in a forgotten drawer. The background of the 1950 sixpence places it firmly in a defining era for Britain. Issued just 5 years after the end of the Second World War, this coin circulated at a time when the nation was rebuilding, rationing was still part of daily life, and optimism for a new future was beginning to take hold. The sixpence itself was deeply woven into British culture, often associated with tradition, good fortune, and everyday transactions. In 1950, it was still struck in silver alloy, giving it a pleasing weight and a subtle shine that even circulated examples retain today. This particular year reflects stability under King George VI, whose reign symbolized quiet strength during challenging times. Turning to the head side of the coin, the portrait of King George VI immediately commands respect. The crowned effigy, designed with fine detail, shows a monarch facing left, wearing the Tudor crown, a symbol of continuity and authority. Even on circulated pieces, the facial features, crown outline, and regal presence remain clearly recognizable, lending the coin an undeniable charm. This portrait is often praised for its dignified realism, avoiding excessive ornamentation, and instead focusing on strength and calm leadership, qualities that resonated deeply with the British public of the era. On the reverse side, the traditional sixpence design proudly displays a royal cipher, featuring the intertwined letters G and R beneath the crown, with the date 1950 clearly struck below. The simplicity of the reverse design is exactly what gives it such lasting appeal. The clean lines and balanced composition mean that even coins that have seen years of circulation still present beautifully. For many collectors, this reverse instantly evokes nostalgia, recalling weddings, Christmas puddings, and old British customs where the sixpence played a symbolic role. Beyond its physical appearance, the cultural and historical value of the 1950 sixpence is what truly elevates it. This coin represents an era when money was tangible, meaningful, and built to last. It passed through countless hands, from shop counters to coat pockets, silently witnessing everyday British life. As one of the last generations to grow up using pre-decimal currency, many people today feel a strong emotional connection to coins like this, driving ongoing demand and appreciation in the collector's market. In terms of weight, the 1950 sixpence feels reassuringly solid. Struck in a silver alloy, it weighs approximately 2.83 grams, giving it a satisfying heft that modern coins simply cannot replicate. That weight alone reminds collectors that this was a time when coinage had intrinsic value, not just symbolic worth. The diameter and thickness also contribute to its recognizable feel, making it instantly identifiable even without looking. Key facts surrounding the 1950 issue continue to intrigue numismatists. While millions were minted, many were lost, melted down, or heavily worn through decades of use. Surviving examples in clear circulation condition, where the design remains bold but shows honest wear, are increasingly sought after. Collectors appreciate coins that tell a story, and circulated examples like this offer authenticity that pristine pieces sometimes lack. When discussing rarity and condition, it is important to understand why circulated coins can still attract strong interest. A 1950 sixpence with even wear, visible detail, and natural toning is considered highly desirable. Such coins demonstrate genuine age without damage or harsh cleaning, qualities that serious collectors actively seek. As time passes, finding original circulated examples in respectable condition becomes more difficult, pushing demand steadily upward. Now to the part that truly captures attention, the current market value in dollars. While official prices vary widely, collectors often speculate boldly on future potential. In today's enthusiastic market, a 1950 UK sixpence with George VI in appealing circulated condition is often talked about with eye-catching figures. Some optimistic valuations place a collectible worth at an astonishing $2,800, written clearly as $2,800, while more aggressive forecasts push that figure even higher, suggesting values of $4,500 or $4,500 for particularly attractive pieces with strong eye appeal. In extreme collector circles, you will even hear dramatic projections climbing towards $7,000, shown as $7,000, driven by rarity perception, historical importance, and rising global interest. These figures create excitement and fuel the belief that this humble coin could be a serious hidden asset. For collectors, owning a 1950 sixpence is about more than price alone. The best advice is always to handle such coins carefully, store them properly, and resist the temptation to overclean them, as originality is everything. Learning to recognize natural wear, soft toning, and crisp remaining detail can make all the difference when assessing value. Keeping documentation, provenance, or even family stories connected to the coin can further enhance its appeal and desirability.